Maverick News, the antivirus program for your mind. And now, the Freedom Reporters.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rick Walker. Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. Hello, Maverick family and new viewers from all over the world. Lots going on tonight. The boss, the Wagner Group boss, he's dead. And we have Kevin Michelizzi joining us shortly to talk about that and give us the real story. He's our man on the ground over there. You may remember that attempted whatever it was, coup, uprising, whatever, I don't know. It was a little weird, but now, as I said before, I wouldn't want to be in his shoes, and now he's dead. So we'll tell you what happened, and you can draw your own conclusions. Also, Chrystia Freeland, Canada's Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister, who says she does not own a car, got caught speeding. Speed demon Chrystia. What else do we have for you tonight? Wildfire news and the GOP debate. We will give you a little preview of what's coming up. Tucker Carlson will be interviewing Donald Trump. That's pre-recorded. It will run at the same time as the debate. How are we going to cover both things? I don't know, but we're so good around here. We'll figure out a way. I'm going to have some help later in the show with that. And we're going to do a watch party. So if you're ready to partay, then stick around because it's going to be a fiesta around here. We'll get things started with Kevin on the other side of this, and we'll talk about what happened to the Wagner, the head of Wagner, the military organization that just a few weeks ago was on its way to Moscow.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are Maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
We are back and we are live, and we are now joined by Kevin Michelizzi. Hello, Kevin. How are you this evening? Thank you for joining us on the program again.
Hey, Rick. Good to be here. The pleasure is mine. Things are doing good. It's dark 30 here right now.
Yes. Yeah, very early in the morning. So I really appreciate you foregoing sleep to bring us the latest information on what has happened with the head of the Wagner Group, who is now, I guess, officially pronounced dead. What happened?
Allegedly dead.
Okay.
So I'm going to read a statement from the Wagner group themselves. They say, "We ask the media and friendly channels of PMC Wagner not to publish unverified data and messages regarding the advice of the commanders of PMC Wagner and the fate of Yevgeny Prigozhin." So what we have going on out there is an awful lot of misinformation. So we have the Russian press service announcing things that have been shown to be not true. We have a lot of Telegram channels, a lot of Western media, and there's a lot of stuff that just isn't known right now.
Yes, well, I have been kind of following it a bit through the day, and conflicting reports, a lot of uncertainty surrounding this, but let's take things just a step back. Well, you know what? Let's actually move forward and show people the video of what appears to be the crash scene. Can you assess this for us here? Do you have any idea what we're looking at here, and is this authentic?
Yeah, this is actually a video of the crash site.
Okay,
So not much left there. And this is important in all the news that you're hearing.
Right, and this was some sort of a private business jet of some kind that he was flying on?
Yeah, it was an Embrower business jet, one of two that he owned. And whether or not he was actually on this plane is debatable.
And
So-
why do you say that? Why is it debatable?
Well, what we know for a fact right now is that 8 bodies were found at the crash site. That means there's still 2 missing. Some places are reporting that 10 bodies have been found, but officially 8 bodies have been found at the crash site. And there were 10 people on board. So there's 2 people missing in all of this right at the moment. From sources in Russia, I'm being told that they found body parts, they've found, parts in the plane, out of the plane. So they don't really know how many they've found, but they're saying that they know of 8 people. There has been an investigation launched by the Federal Air Transport Agency in Russia. Representatives of law enforcement are on the site, but they aren't touching anything until the authorities from Moscow arrive. And the plane allegedly carried Evgeny Prigozhin. So those are the facts that we know definitely.
And where exactly is this crash site? Do you have a bead on the geographic location?
Yeah, it's between Moscow and St. Petersburg.
Okay.
So it's just a few hours flight.
I guess it isn't surprising that this is cloaked in a bit of mystery, given the circumstances surrounding this. Let's take people back and explain. I'll get you to kind of give the backstory on this and the coup or whatever it was that took place a number of weeks ago.
Yes, there was a coup by the Wagner group led by Prigozhin and his chief commander, Dmitry Utkin, who is also allegedly on this plane. They started an attack on Rostov-on-Don in southern Russia. They started moving towards Moscow, threatening the leadership of the Russian Federation. That was stopped by a call from Lukashenko in Belarus, who contacted Putin and Prigozhin, and he negotiated a cease of the operation and negotiated allowing Prigozhin and the men who did not want to join the Russian Federation armed forces to go to Belarus. And that was exactly 2 months ago. So at the time, Vladimir Putin said that he would forgive their betrayal to the Russian Federation, but the men who did not want to officially join the armed forces of Russia, because it is illegal for a private military company to operate on Russian soil. So Prigozhin had lost his business contract and his income. So they made that agreement. Guys who didn't want to join the military went to Belarus, but then Prigozhin went against the deal and was found in St. Petersburg again. And for the last 2 months, he's been flying back and forth between Russia, Belarus, and Africa. So, there's rumors that Putin may have had him eliminated. And I just say rumors because I don't buy into that.
Why? Because you think Vladimir Putin is too nice? Or you just think it's too conspiratorial, or what? Why?
I think it's too conspiratorial. I really don't think that he's going to order the Russian Federation armed forces to use a man-pads to shoot down one of Prigozhin's planes, and just happens to know which plane he's on. One of the guys on this plane was Valery Chekolov, and he is the guy that is the only one in the Wagner group that knows Prigozhin's travel plans, which of the two planes he will be on, the routes that the planes are flying. So he's the only one who knows the logistics of the travel. And he was on the plane that was downed as well.
Well, I was watching that interview earlier today with Scott Ritter on another program, and he said that whatever happens, whatever the facts might be surrounding this, there will be nothing linking this back to Putin. I'm not exactly why he said that, other than maybe he's just in the same camp as you and you think it's too conspiratorial.
Yeah, as Scott said, he thinks Prigozhin had it coming. Putin does not forgive betrayal and treason, but whatever has been linked back to Putin, he's been accused of a lot of people's deaths, but you don't find any proof anywhere. The Ukrainians are already taking credit for shooting it down, and and we know that's highly unlikely. So I've seen rumors that a military jet shot it. Oh, gee, there were 2 booms. What people need to realize is when a plane blows up for whatever reason in midair, you're going to hear some booms. They carry a lot of fuel on them. And the second plane, there were rumors going on that there was something goofy going on, because the second plane was zigzagging around and flying in circles around Moscow. They were burning fuel.
Interesting. And there is other video out there, but you're telling me that before we came on the air, you're telling me that some of the other videos that are circulating may not be the
correct.
real deal.
Yeah, correct. It's been verified that at least one of the videos, this one I don't know. This is a fairly reliable source, but again, I don't know on this one. We have another one that's been verified that it was actually the downing of one of the aircraft by the Wagner forces 2 months ago. And some analysis of the bad video actually shows that it was not an Embraer, because it had engines on the wings and not on the fuselage behind the wings.
And I think this is the video that you said is really going around. It is not It is not accurate. This is old video.
Yes, this is the old
Пиздец,
one.
это беспилотник. Сбили, бабахнуло 2 раза, взорвалось, падает. Ты посмотри, падает.
And we won't translate that Russian.
Okay. And yeah, when I look at that, it doesn't even look the same as the other video.
Куда упал?
Correct.
Вон тут куски летят.
It's a different plane.
Yep.
And there's a still photo of the crash.
And this thing was loaded with fuel. It isn't that far outside of Moscow. So, you know, what is on the site really is going to be hard to determine. It's going to require DNA evidence to tell who was on the plane. A lot of the reports saying that Prigozhin was on this plane comes from the Russian Federal Air Transport Agency. And it's based on the fact that they published the passenger list, and Prigozhin was on that passenger list. But that doesn't necessarily mean he was on the plane. He is well known for at the last minute swapping planes that he's flying in. And it's a rare occasion that he and Utkin fly on the same plane. Very rare occasion. So there's questions about, was he on the second plane that went back to Moscow? Nobody really knows.
Interesting.
And we
So
won't
here-
know. We won't know until somebody takes DNA evidence.
Right. Here in the West, the media is reporting it as though it's a done deal. It's a fact that he's dead. Those are the headlines tonight in mainstream media.
Yeah, well, let's keep in mind that he died in a plane crash. You know, this is the second time he's died in a plane crash. So,
Isn't that right? Well, when was the last time he died?
Oh, I don't remember exactly when it was, but there were reports of him dying in a plane crash back several months ago.
Man, he's going to be like a new Elvis. We'll have sightings all over the place before you know.
Hey, the ghost of Kiev.
So if he is dead, where would this leave the members of the Wagner unit?
The Wagner group actually has a contingency plan in place if Prigozhin passes away for some reason. You know, the bad thing for them is the guys on the passenger list were a majority of the senior leaders of the group, but they do have contingency plans. The remaining leaders of Wagner are currently meeting in St. Petersburg at the Wagner Center. They've got the windows lit up in the sign of the cross. This is another thing people are using to say, oh, it's definitely he's dead, but, you know, it could just be that they're honoring, you know, whoever was on the plane.
Yeah. So the troops are up in Belarus for the most part now, right?
They have some of the troops up in Belarus. There were reports that a big transport plane was sent to Belarus to evacuate them from the country, but that's been proven false as well. There's a good number of them in Africa still.
And it was just yesterday or the day before, there was a video released of Prigozhin in Africa. I saw it here. This is odd, actually. They said that he had surfaced and finally was appearing in a video talking about the Wagner Group activities in Africa. And now here we are just a short time later with this story. Do you find that odd, or is there anything to be made of that?
He's a businessman. He goes where money can be made. You know, I saw some comments in the chat earlier before we came on the air, and somebody was saying, oh, it would be impossible for him to be outside of Moscow because he was just streaming from Africa. Reality is it's only a 7-hour flight in one of these business jets, 6.5 hours maybe.
Yeah.
So, it's not far-fetched. And he's known to be everywhere.
How much of a liability really had he become for Putin? Did we lose you? Did we freeze up there, Kevin? I think maybe we lost his feed. So that was the question. That is the question, is how much of a problem had Prigozhin with the Wagner group really become for Vladimir Putin? Yeah, we lost him. I think he'll be back. I hope he comes back. Man, the internet, not good. I'll tell you what. Okay, here he comes. And he's back. There he is. So we lost you there for a moment, Kevin. But my question was, had Prigozhin really become a liability or a problem for Putin to the point where it seemed like a bit of an embarrassment when those troops were on their way to Moscow?
Yeah. If you look at 2023 alone, he was an embarrassment in general. He was constantly jumping up and down that he had no weapons, no ammunition, no support from the Russian military, yet he had enough stuff to march on Moscow. So, there were bad things between him and Shoigu, all of the leadership. So he was an embarrassment. The march on Moscow, the thing about Vladimir Putin is he never forgives somebody who betrays him. So he may have allowed him to go to Belarus, and had he stayed there, he probably would have been fine. But his flying back and forth to St. Petersburg and going to these other countries, all business-based. He's a businessman, or was, as the case may be. And it was an embarrassment because he made a deal with Putin. Putin said, go to Belarus, stay there. And he didn't. So he was basically thumbing his nose at Putin.
Well, I said before I wouldn't want to be in his shoes.
Yeah, there's not a lot of Russians, I think you will find, that will miss him at all.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in Moscow last time, I actually saw people outside the Duma protesting against him.
He was that unpopular.
Yes. He was. They consider him a traitor.
A traitor.
Yeah, you don't march on your own people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, even though his troops performed very well in this conflict in Ukraine, I can certainly understand why some people would view it that way, because it was an international embarrassment in that short period of time where those troops were on their way to Moscow. And, it was difficult for people to make sense of it. It was called many different things, but any way you slice it, he was misbehaving.
He was. And all of it and all this rants that he posted online were all about the fact that he lost his contract to fight in Donbass, because once Russia took Donbass as Russian territory, he was operating illegally.
Right. Funny how war always seems to come down to profit for some people.
For somebody, yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible.
We won't mention the United States or... Gee, what did I do?
So, Kevin, is there anything else you'd like to add or think that I might be missing with regard to this story?
No, let me scroll through the latest notes I got coming in here just to make sure. No, I have nothing more to add on this other than a saying I heard our good friend Scott Ritter say once when he was quoting somebody else: don't believe it until you see the dead body. And I'm sure in the next 24 to 48 hours, we will see DNA evidence come out. I'm guessing that they will probably confirm that he is dead. So I'm not saying he is alive, but, you know, it could be theater as well. So, you know, never go off of circumstantial evidence. Go with what you know, make informed decisions, and wait until you get a little bit more of the picture.
Well, I'll tell you, after watching some of the other coverage of this thus far, I'm so grateful to you coming on to share your information and perspective with us, because I think that you have been the most careful and, as a result, the most credible source of information on this very story. And I'm really appreciative. Kevin, tell people again how they can find more of you and your content online.
You can find all of my channels listed on the web address down here. There we are. Infowars.press is my website. And that links out to my channels. We actually stream Maverick News to get Rick's word out there for him. And that's the best place to find us.
Not InfoWars like Alex Jones Infowars, Infowars.press.
Yes.
That's where you'll find
Actually,
Kevin, a totally different deal.
Yeah. Information warfare analysis, but.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin Michelizzi. Truly appreciate you spending the time here.
I appreciate you having me on.
Okay. All right, folks, there you have it. Kevin Michelizzi, and that's the real deal. If you want the facts, you got the facts. You want other stuff, you're gonna have to go someplace else, because we're gonna stick to that. Stay with me, and I will return right after this.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.